Hello and welcome a new episode of Let's Have a Chat in Biladi FM 96.6 FM. I hope everyone is listening to me right now is happy, safe, healthy, building his positivity in many ways. I hope that you manage to find a way. I know the challenges is growing every day in our life, especially in Sudan, but as we are, let's have a chat and hashtag of building positivity, we will keep on saying just find the light, find the things that could give you hope and try to build on it. But don't be a victim or don't surrender to the monster of laziness or disappointment, because it will not help you. You are the only one who's going to help yourself. So, another things going on right now, like I know many people may be just witnessing lots of changes in the country right now, and some people do not like it and some people like it, and we don't understand what this country going to go through. But we hope the best for this country, and we will believe in the day that we will see Sudan in a better place and developed, and all the good that we could expect from this country that we actually love, and we hope to see it one of the most leading countries in Africa and in the world, hopefully, inshallah. It's never far. So before we talk too much, I'm so happy today and so delighted to have with me a friend, then a guest for the second time in Biladi Radio and in Let's Have a Chat, country director of Sayara company, Mr. Bakry Osman.
Thank you so much, Marwa. Really, I'm very happy to be back, and I consider the studio and the building of Biladi Radio as a hub of positivity. So I'm always happy to be back because I always leave with a big flame of positivity. So thank you so much for
I'm
having
so
me
flattered
again.
by this, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're always welcome, and we always happy to have you, because when we have a good and inspiring stories, we will love always to share it with audience, because we want to feed the positivity to the people who are listening to us right now. So first of all, how are you?
I'm good, really good, despite the fact that I know that, and I keep saying this to people, that transitions in any country are very difficult. But it is a historic time for our country and for our population. We have to maintain the positivity. We have to work together. We have to find the grounds that unite us, and stay away from whatever that divide us as Sudanese. And I'm sure that everyone is doing their best, and eventually things will hopefully work out for the best of our country and for the people of Sudan as well. So as you always say, keep it positive. So.
But you said a really important word that I should emphasize, and I should precisely say it again, which is unity. This word is really important in Sudan.
Yeah. And more even importantly, inclusivity is really important.
Yes.
I think inclusion is one of the things that it's a word that I really like, and I would like to emphasize on it today in your show. And it is a word that I try to use on a daily basis, because this is the time of inclusion. It is the time of, as previously mentioned, of unity, and that we find the common ground where we could safely pass this transition into a hopefully democratic election, where Sudanese will finally find some peace of mind that we've never found since the independence of Sudan. But this time is really
not
different.
agree more.
Yeah, this time is really different. I think we have all the potentials. The whole world is backing us, having our back on this. People are, to a very large extent, are aware of the challenges, and the Sudanese people have been and will always be patient, as we are seeing today, despite of all the challenges. people are staying positive. The most simple individuals are, keeping their hopes high, trying to enjoy on a daily basis their lives, and I think it's just a beautiful way of showing positivity.
Yeah.
And
And I think this is a feature that is just only you can find it in Sudanese people. You will not find it any place in the world.
That is.
So yeah, can you imagine if we found this and the ingredient of unity? Can you imagine what will happen into this country?
That is true. I always tell this joke, which is also true, that Sudan is the only country where you find people making friendships in the fuel lines at the petrol station.
Yes, indeed.
This is to shows really to which extent the positivity that people have by nature, despite of the challenges. And I really I have high hopes and expectations coming from that place.
And I join my voice to you, and I cannot say more to this. And this is amazing, and we hope that everyone who's listening to us could be inspired by those words, because all we need is to remember that we all are Sudanese. We all are not different from different of culture. We have different culture, yes. We have different maybe language, yes. We have different skin color, yes. But we are all Sudanese,
Yep.
and we should remember that, especially in those days, in this hard time, and we should just forget about everything that could make us hate each other, and remember that we love this country and we love everything about it. So before we go, but there's other important question. Let's go and come back to you. Can you tell us more about your company now, so we could understand a little bit about it?
Okay.
Last time we didn't know about that.
Okay, so Sayara International is a global development firm. It was established back in 2004 in Kabul, Afghanistan. And then ever since we have been growing. Now we have moved our headquarters to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And we have country offices around the world. We have a regional office in Nairobi, Kenya, which is, covering the Horn of Africa region. We also, and East Africa, and we have a regional office in Medellin, in Colombia. Then we also have country offices in Kabul, Afghanistan, Sudan, Warsaw. We have support offices in Paris and in London. So yeah, it has been growing ever since its establishment. We specialize in different areas. We work on different programmatic areas covering research, also strategic communication and everything that is related to communication, such as countering misinformation and disinformation, countering violent extremism. We also work on design and implementation of innovative programmings in good governance. And also basically any work that would support or come in the same line as what we're doing in Sudan. So we specialize in transitioning societies, as well as conflict-affected areas. So being in Sudan in this time is very significant.
And really important.
Us as a team in Sudan and as Sayara Global, everyone in our offices around the world is working hard, not only to support our efforts globally, but with a special focus on Sudan. Given the sensitivity of the situation in Sudan, really Sudan have always been prioritized by Sayara Global, and they really are genuinely invested in helping this transition to succeed. Our office in Sudan is formed of 24 now staff who are a mixture of Sudanese, young, active Sudanese staff.
Wow.
Mainly, actually, the majority of our staff, and I always take pride of this, are women.
Okay, this is of the women in lead. I like that.
Yes, and they are doing an extraordinary job on a daily basis. They really it's a team that I would consider myself very lucky to have, and from here I would like to send them my warmest greetings and regards and love and positivity, because if it wasn't for the team in Sudan and their dedication, we would have not been where we are today. Also, of course, I don't want to forget my partners and my colleagues in DC and elsewhere about the amazing support and work they are providing to Sudan every day. So yeah, and to our team here. So I'm very happy.
And we send them all the highs and loves, and I will say to all the female that working in this company, go and keep doing the great work, and I'm cheering for you. But let's go for the first break. Feedbacks, your comments in every way, Facebook, Twitter, and even on Instagram, and even through the phone calls of like calling Biladi Radio like you always do, and we're always waiting for that. So again, we're happy to have today Bakry with me, country director of Sayara company. Again, happy to have you in Let's Have a Chat for the second time.
Thank you.
And as always, the conversation with you is always interesting, and we have lots to say. Start by talking about, there is the pandemic, as you know, and the COVID, and the hysteria of the COVID. And here in Sudan, we actually didn't care that much. But as a Sudanese, many people do not take this seriously, or somehow been victimized by what they hear maybe in social media or in other places, or the conspiracy theory, or blah, 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 lots of things. So I know there's upcoming events happening, and I would love if you could share with us a few of this. I'm interested to know more.
Thank you so much, Marwa. I would like to start first by just underlining two main problems, which is what basically led to the formation and the start of this very important program. The first point is the pandemic itself. Ever since COVID came to exist, it has been a major problem for the whole country. It has changed lives of people. It has negatively affected the population of the world. And today we stand in a position where we are really battling with this COVID on a daily basis. Every time we think we came to an end with this pandemic, and then another mutated version comes up, we don't really know what will happen tomorrow, but what we know is that we can do a lot about it today. And as long as we are doing everything in our capacity to really fight this pandemic, I have absolutely no doubt that humanity and mankind and the people all over the world will overcome COVID and the challenges that comes with it. The other point that I want to focus on as well is the amount of fake news and misinformation that came along with COVID. And this is negatively also affecting the people's willingness to be vaccinated. Basic knowledge about COVID, prevention, precautionary measures, social distancing, and finally with the vaccine. There has been so much of misinformation and disinformation. The age where we exist in today, which includes social media platforms, also could possibly have affected of course in a positive manner, but also in a negative manner by being an easy platforms for dissemination of fake news, whether they were targeted or intentional or not. Combining both elements of COVID and misinformation and disinformation, Sayara International have designed and led the implementation of a countering misinformation and disinformation program focusing on COVID in the Sahel region,
Okay.
Including countries like Mauritania, Mali, Niger, and also countries like Burkina Faso, as well as Senegal. And then the Lake Chad basin. So we're talking about northern Cameroon and southern Chad and Sudan. So this program has been focused on these regions in particular.
Why? Because is there something common about those areas?
Yeah, so the design of the program focused on regions. So the relations, the geographic locations of these countries, how interconnected they are, geographically, culturally, and also geopolitically.
Okay.
So these were some of the elements that the program was designed, the basis what the program was designed on. The program is supported by the Foreign Ministry of the United States, which is the U.S. Department of State, and designed and led by Sayara International in partnership with Timbuktu Institute in Dakar and our partners from Alto Analytics.
Okay.
The importance of this program and how it worked. It really worked a lot on first researching what kind of false narratives that exist in relation to COVID, and then building strategic communication and communication programs and behavioral change communications to focus on countering these fake news and misinformation, as well as amplifying truthful and facts that we know from basically like credible sources like the Sudanese Ministry of Health in Sudan, globally WHO, and every country has its and this is something to a lot of people might seem very basic, that yes, you always will do your fact checking, you'll always go back to the official
what they are saying
resources, yes, but for a lot of places, a lot of countries in the region, and a lot of cities in Sudan, for example, a lot of people are building their knowledge on COVID and also on the vaccine based on rumors and fake news.
Yeah, and Facebook, social media, and even the news in the street. People just talking in the market, in the gas line, wherever here in Sudan.
Yeah, but the fact-checking process, even there are a lot of credible news you can find on social media. It's just that the verification of these news could require a little bit of basic knowledge about for example, in Facebook you have the blue tick in the page, and then what is the page? If it's the official page of the Ministry of Health in Sudan, for example, then yes, that's a credible source. So the program focuses over the last year focused on many elements other than the research as well. It focused on building capacity for journalists, media outlets in all these countries to systematically and technically and professionally counter misinformation and disinformation.
This is very important.
Fake news.
Yes.
With focus on COVID. So the reason why one of the reasons why we also wanted to implement this program is really to build the capacity of the media environment in Sudan and other countries in combating misinformation and disinformation in general, but then COVID as it is one of the most important elements of human life at the moment. So it was very important to have it as a main topic as well.
But let me cut in. I want to say something about building capacity. As someone who's working in a media field and have my platform here in Biladi Radio, which is reach all wide range of listeners.
Yeah.
I always find myself put in a responsibility that I should say something about this. I should, but I don't have information. I don't have numbers that confirm that there is cases or not. So what I do is just keep saying that please be careful, please wear masks. We don't have confirmed numbers now, but we know that the corona is out there. So I think this is only also a problem, you know, because I feel like if I have a confirmed information that will tell me, that will lead me to give more accurate some guidelines to our listeners, right?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you when it comes to building capacity and how we could let journalists and people understand about this.
Exactly, and moreover, the capacity building when it comes to working with journalists and the media environment in Sudan, it's more something of even of, you know, how technically from step A to step Z, how could you identify fake news?
Okay.
How can you do fact verification, and how can you counter the fake news?
Okay.
So it has been, we have held one symposium alongside with 2 training workshops with the Sudan Academy for Communication on training journalists on these very important topics. So to counter fake news and misinformation and disinformation. And now we are looking at the very last phase of the project, which is going to be a workshop will be held tomorrow in Khartoum. It will be attended by a lot of influencers from all over the country, journalists, singers, comedians, actors, social media influencers, and is also sponsored by the Sovereign Council member, Dr. Siddiq Tower.
Okay.
Who's also the acting head of the National Committee for Health Response dealing with COVID, which will also be attended by the Minister of Information and Minister of Health. And also we will have a few presentations and papers will be presented by representatives of the organizations like UNICEF, WHO, and the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Information, speaking specifically on the misinformation and disinformation seen in the Sudanese environment, media environment. The overall goal of this workshop tomorrow is really to engage with the influencers and the actors and the journalists and the media specialists, singers, everyone who has influence, to get them engaged in becoming a significant and an important
and this is what we call the inclusive dialogue that we need.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Because they do have that power and that strength to basically deliver the right messages and the right information to the public, to the population, and to really know. Because today, if your favorite singer or comedian or actor or journalist shares something in their Facebook page or in their Twitter account or in their show, it's definitely something that you would follow and you will respect.
Exactly.
So what we're trying to do is that tomorrow we're launching a national-wide campaign through the radio, through TV, through social media. This national-wide campaign will contain a lot of videos, radio jingles, and information about COVID. And we really want the influencers. We can't do it without them because they are really one of this segment of talented and influencing people in Sudan are by far one of the most important platforms and environments that could help in countering misinformation and disinformation in relation to COVID. And of course, most importantly, people have to get the vaccine. That's, it's just a matter of It's another issue with the vaccine.
Yes, another issue. Let's go for the break and then we will continue.
Thank you.
We are back again in our final segment, and I'm glad that it's always nice to have you here, Bakry, in the show. You know, country director of Sayara. For the people who join us right now, we have Bakry Osman, country director of Sayara company, and we are talking about COVID-19 and the workshop that will take place tomorrow. And I think there is going to be media coverage for that, right?
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
If people want to watch it, can you please share a few places that people could watch this?
Yes, definitely.
Event?
So it will be broadcasted in our social media platforms.
Okay.
So you can find us at Sayara International or Sayara Sudan on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And also part of the conference and the workshop will be covered by national media platforms, so TVs and radio stations as well.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So for all the people who are listening and want to know more about this event, you can watch it at the pages that Bakry just mentioned. So please, I will just say be keen on watching this because it's important and it will help in educate you more as someone who want to know more about COVID and to understand what we are going through. And don't say it's not important because it's important. If you have a cough tomorrow and you don't know what is the reason, it's corona, my friend. So please, in those kind of event and those kind of workshop, I think it's something that in the heart of the problem and we need to focus on it. And it's not just a promotion, it's something that I feel like it's important to emphasize and keep repeating it.
True.
To just deal with those kind of things. So vaccine here in Sudan. So what's your thought about this?
No, so and this is another level because as well. So the first year when we had the pandemic outbreak, it was a lot of difficult for a lot of people to cope because we did not know what will be next.
Okay.
However, everyone on this planet, and I mean no exclusion whatsoever, have worked together to and done a lot of work to come up with this vaccine.
Okay.
And we have hope. Ever since the vaccine came out, a lot of people globally got vaccinated. These vaccines have been going through a lot of trials and a lot of verification from a medical perspective. It's almost impossible to find anyone who works in the medical field who could tell you that these vaccines are the stuff that we hear about the vaccination.
Yes.
But a lot of people also, because of misinformation and disinformation, have a lot of false news and information about the vaccine.
We have lots of those here in Sudan.
And the rumors are sometimes you just be like, where is this coming from? Like, I did not even see that. So
you know what's the best one?
Okay,
the best rumor. Just to break in a little bit, the best rumor is that I heard that when you have the vaccine, you could light up. Like if you put a lamp in your skin, it will have electricity in it. So you will have like a lamp, you will be electricity. Some of it say that someone, like in the conspiracy theory, they said that when they give you the vaccine, they actually inject a chip inside you. So the one who's leading the world, they want to control everyone. So we're all going to be a robot.
Yeah. I've heard.
And this is really, really going viral, by the way.
Yeah, and the funny part is some of these rumors or disinformation or misinformation are actually common between a lot of countries. And then you have ones that are very specific to the country. For example, the one about the microchip that has been planted through the injection.
Yeah.
Or the one that is about basically the first one you. Exactly. This is something that we've seen in a lot of countries, but in Sudan we have also our own news. For example, I heard a lot of people that saying that, for example, if you take the vaccine, and it's not just about COVID. COVID is one thing, but also the vaccine itself.
Okay.
You have a lot of people. But first, let me go back to the COVID. I remember the very first time, people used to hide COVID. So if someone is infected,
yes,
they will feel that they are ashamed of sharing the news. Why? Because one of the main reasons is because of like how socially this could have
people will reject you, be away from you, socially isolated. People, wow, like you go crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. First before taking it personally and before also sharing it with people.
And you know what's the important also for this workshop? That will make also the people in charge, like maybe the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Information, the people who actually also give the information, to work on how they could give an accurate numbers and make and build the trust with the people and the audience who's listening to you. Like when you, like some people do not actually, because like what I'm trying to say is building or training more the people who are actually working in the field, and how they could give more accurate information in general, so that could build the trust with the people who are listening to you. Because if you say like there is 46 cases and some of 5 are healed, and you know that in the field you have like 3 neighbors that you know already they have corona right now, and they are not counted. So this is what I'm trying to say. It's something like it's in the both ways, not just also the influencers.
Exactly. There is no doubt that the role of the Ministry of Health and the government is really important. However, let me say, and I'm not saying this as a way to find excuses for our government, but Sudan being in a transition and in this really challenging time, and all these problems that the transitional government is facing, I do see a lot of good initiatives coming from the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Information, and the National Committee that is working on countering COVID. I personally get my information from the official page of the Ministry of Health.
We all do that.
Exactly. Of course, there are some shortcomings, and that's natural because of the capacity that the government at the moment has, and because of other problems that are covering up on a lot of other important issues, like the peace elements, the economic crisis, and all these kind of things. However, it is a responsibility, I think, of equally responsibility of the government, civil society organizations, media environment and outlets, influencers, and everyone who has access to social media, and people who are educated enough to counter and to fight these fake narratives and misinformation and disinformation, not just for COVID but for everything else. It is a culture that I think that it is time for us to build in Sudan, to not fall into these fake news that we always see in WhatsApp, even in general.
Exactly.
A lot of false messages are going around, and specifically now on COVID and the vaccine.
And I cannot agree with you more. In the end, every work to be perfect, it needs to collective work. It needs to be something that everyone. If we work as you said, unity is the word that actually could help us to define all what we are talking about in order to combat COVID, in order to combat racism, in order to combat every. I'm saying this because I know that there is now war in some part of Sudan, and we don't want that. We want people to. I know this is something not COVID, but it's something need to be mentioned, that we just say to all the people that we all as Sudanese, and we all should remember that, and we all should remember that we should work for our country and just forget about our. It's hard to forget about the villages, but just remember that we all are Sudanese and we want the best for this country. So again, Bakry, we are happy to have you here and to share this inspiring information about COVID that actually could help in changing maybe the concept of understanding how to deal with this pandemic. So if you have lost messages, because we have like 1 minute or 2 minutes, so since say no, it's over, but it's a 1 minute for me, so we should say. She will yell at me later, but it's okay. 1 minute to say.
Okay, just to close, I would just ask everyone who's listening to please always verify your facts. Don't fall into the trap of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. And just do it. And as Marwa said at the beginning, this is really a time where we all have to come together despite of the challenges that is the country is experiencing. COVID hitting on top of that has really impacted a lot the population. So we really could prevent at least COVID. So let's work together on that.
Yes, and I join my voice to you, and let's agree on that. And please tune in tomorrow to the workshop. And I have to end the episode, but I have to say Sausan Hamouda is the director as usual, and my friend, and I always love working with you. And she says she's kicking me out of the studio, so you were with me, your host Marwa Khalid, in Let's Have a Chat in Biladi Radio 96.6. Bye bye.